Under material usage variance, the formula is very simple. Standard price into standard quantity minus actual quantity. Material yield variance is equal to actual yield or actual output minus standard yield into standard cost per unit of the output. Material usage variance, which is nothing but the material mix variance plus material yield variance. 4,960 into 20, 99,200. If you take the together total, 4,96,000. Hello everyone, a warm welcome to one and all. I am Natesh, lecturer in commerce, Vidhyaashram First Grade College, MYSURU, the Temple of Excellence. We are in the Unit 5, Session 5, 4th semester B.Ba, Management Accounting. The chapter name is Standard Costing. In today my agenda, under Standard Costing, few problem. So here in the last session, the problem which is related to there is no mix of material. So this one is actually to produce a final product, we are mixing a material. Okay, for example, the standard mix of produce one product is as follow. To produce one specific product, so there are different combination of materials we are using. First one, the material A is given 60 unit. Rupees 15 per unit. If you directly multiply that directly, okay, and the material B 80 units at the rate of 20 per unit, 1,600 we are getting. Okay, and next to material C 100 units at the rate of 25 per unit, rupees 2,500. If you take the value, the total is 5,000, and if you take the total units, 240. So sometimes the problem directly they can give for the total, otherwise we need to take the total. So during the month April, 100 units actually produced. So 100 units what you are producing, which is nothing but your actual yield. Okay, the output. So and consumption are as follow. The material A 640 at the rate of 1750 per unit. If you multiply directly, 1,12,000 we are getting. And next one, the material B 9,500 at the rate of 18 per unit. If you multiply, 1,71,000. Okay, the material C 8,700 at the rate of 27.50 per unit. If you multiply, 2,39,250 we are getting. So the total amount we are getting here 5,22,250. The total the materials what we are using inputs 24,600. So they ask you to calculate all material variance, all material which is completely related to the material variance. So the moving whatever the information they given, so we need to write in the tabular format. So just for material whatever the given, material A, material B, material C. So the same thing 6,000 how we are getting. So already clearly they told us 60 into 15. So what we are getting the total. So obviously the information how we are getting 6,000, because the 60 is given. Okay, the 60 unit. Because we are producing 100 units, right? So 100 into 60, if you multiply 6,000 you are getting. And the same thing, the material B, there is actually rate is given 80 unit is given. We are producing for 100 units, so we need to multiply for 100 units, so we are getting 8,000. And the material C 10,000 how we are getting, that rate is given here. The unit is specified 100 units. So we into 100 units multiply if you do. So 10,000 we are getting. If you take together total 24,000 units, which is coming under the standard quantity. So the rate also given in the question, which is clearly specified 15, 20, 25. I have written 15, 20, 25. So just to multiply 6,000 into 15, we are getting 90,000. The standard quantity amount. Again, next again the 20 into 8,000 if you multiply, 1,60,000, and 25 into 10,000 if you multiply, 2,50,000. If you take the together total, the standard under standard the value is 5 lakhs we are getting. Under standard the unit is 24,000 we are getting. So now we need to refer the data whatever which is during the month 100 units, which is completely related to actual. So again the actual, again the 100 we need to specify. So what is an actual yield? The output is clearly specified in the question, 100 unit. So here the 6,400 which is given directly, the unit 6,400, 9,500, 8,700 I have written. So as it is I have written. Okay. So the total, if you take together the 24,600, which is coming under the total actual quantity. Okay, so the total actual quantity, and the rate also clearly specified in the question. 17 rupee 50 paisa, 18 and 27 point respected material, we need to multiply 17.50 into 6,400. If you multiply 1,12,000, we are getting again the second rate material B is given. 18 into 9,500. If you multiply 1,71,000, you are getting. Last rate one is 27.50 into 8,700. If you multiply, so 2,39,250. If you take the together total value 5,22,250. So once we calculated, so they ask you to find out the material cost under all material cost. So material cost variance, material price variance, material usage variance, even the material yield variance. Okay, so here the material cost variance, we know the formula, the standard cost, which is minus actual cost. Standard cost, how we are getting? Standard quantity into standard rate. So directly the standard quantity total we got 5 lakhs. So directly we can write the amount. The actual cost value also calculated, the total 5 lakhs 22,550. Obviously, if you try to subtract, because 5 lakhs which is less than the 5 lakh 22,250, obviously the result is 22,250, which is coming under the negative. Okay, from this if you subtract, the sign is always negative, so that's what we are writing adverse. So moving for the material price variance, because we need to calculate each and every material. So material A, material B, material C. We know the formula for material price variance, actual quantity into standard price minus actual price. Okay, the individually material price for the material A, so the standard rate is given for the respected standard rate 15 is given. Okay, so obviously we can write here the standard price is 15 minus actual price, which is clearly specified 17.50. Actual quantity, respected quantity, the actual quantity which is given 6,400. Okay, so according to formula, if you must simplify, we are getting, say from this, if you try to 15 minus 17.50, obviously we are getting a negative minus 2.50 into 6,400. If you multiply, so the answer is completely adverse value. 16,000 is adverse. Okay, so moving to the material B, the standard price which is given in the question 20. Okay, actual price is given 18. So the actual quantity is 8,000 they specified. So obviously 20 minus 18, okay, the quantity whatever which is given, we need to multiply. So we are getting the 19,000, which is favorable. So the moving to the actual quantity here 9,500. So how? Now moving to material C, the standard price is 25, actual price is 27,500. The actual quantity for 8,700. So 25 minus 27.50, actual quantity is 8,700. If you multiply, so obviously from this you are getting negative value, minus 2.50 into 8,700. If you multiply, the answer is 21,750, which is an adverse. Okay, there are two adverse, so the favorable is 19. Obviously we need to categorize, adverse value is more, so the answer is after adjusting, after subtracting favorable, so the result we are getting 18,750 adverse, because the adverse sign is more, okay, compared to the favorable. So moving to the material usage variance, under material usage variance, the formula is very simple. Standard price into standard quantity minus actual quantity. Now standard, under material A, the standard price which is given here, the standard price what we are giving, the 15, the standard price 15, actual standard quantity which is given in the question, we calculated 6,000, actual quantity 6,400. So if you try to simplify, from this we are getting adverse, minus we are getting minus 400 into 15. If you multiply, the answer is adverse, 6,000 adverse. Okay, so moving to the material usage variance for B, standard quantity which is we calculated 8,000, actual quantity is 9,500. The standard price which is applicable for 20 rupees here. So here 8,000 minus 9,500, the standard price 20. Okay, from this we are getting minus 1,500 into 20. If you multiply, so 30,000, which is an adverse result. Okay, so moving to the material C variance, standard quantity 10,000, actual quantity 8,700, standard price 25,000. So 10,000 minus 7,000, 8,700 into 25, multiply, from this we are getting a positive 1,300 into 25 multiply 20 to 32,500, which is an favorable result. So compare here, the adverse we are getting 36,000, here we are getting favorable only 32,000. So which sign is more? Adverse sign is more. Obviously the adverse only. The after adjusting 3,500 we are getting an adverse. Once we calculated for the material price variance and material usage variance, we need to do for the verification. So material cost verification, material cost variance is equal to material price variance plus material usage variance. So just now we calculated material cost variance to 22,250 we are getting. So as it is, I have copied for 22,250 adverse. So under material price variance, just now we calculated the difference we are getting 18,750. So which is an adverse, I have written adverse. Okay, under material usage, after adjusting, we are getting an adverse result 3,500. So obviously 3,500. So if you try to add together, so because adverse which is equal to adverse 22,250, which is matching. Okay, so moving to the material mix variance, under material mix variance, the simple formula took under combination of material, the standard price into revised standard quantity minus actual quantity. So under the formula, whatever it's there, see, standard price into revised standard quantity minus actual quantity. So we need to calculate the revised standard quantity for the individual product. So the formula is very simple. To revise standard quantity of one material into total actual quantity divided by total standard quantity. Once again, the standard quantity of one material, for example, the material A or material B, separately we need to do, into total quantity, actual quantity, divided by total standard quantity. So material A, revised standard quantity. So here individual quantity of standard quantity of one material, which is given in the question here, the standard quantity is 6,000. Okay, the 6,000 as it is, I have written here, into total actual quantity. Actual quantity we got the total actual quantity here 24,600 divided by total standard quantity 24,000, which is applicable for all the material. Okay, so I have written here into actual quantity divided by 24,000 for applicable for everything, all the material. Even the material B standard quantity 8,000, material C standard quantity is 10,000. I have written as it is. Okay, just to multiply, we are getting the final revised standard quantity of A, we are getting 6,150 unit. Under material B revised standard quantity 8,200, because which is a common, right? So this one is common, only for standard quantity is only varied. And the material C revised standard quantity, we are getting 10,250. So once we get the material revised standard quantity, we need to do for the separator. So according to this formula, now the standard price material A, the standard price into revised standard quantity, just now we calculated, and my respected actual quantity. So here the revised standard quantity of A, we got actually 6,150. Actual quantity in the respected material, which is clearly specified, 6,400. Material B 9,500. Material C 8,700. So according to the formula only we need to substitute. Okay, so revised standard quantity minus actual quantity, because the formula standard price which is given, again we need to refer 15, 20, 25 for respected material. So after subtracting we need to multiply. So the answer we are getting from here adverse. Okay, obviously the answer, if you multiply 3,750, we are getting an adverse. So moving for the standard revised quantity for material B 8,200 minus okay, actual quantity 9,500 into standard price 20, which is there in the tabular format. So the answer is, from here we are getting an adverse. Obviously your answer also adverse only, 26,000 adverse. So moving to the material C revised quantity 10,250 units minus actual quantity 8,700. If you subtract, the positive result we are getting. So if you multiply, obviously your answer also favorable. Okay, so after adjusting, so the favorable, here there are two adverse, only favorable. The answer is, because we are getting here 38,750 is compared to the adverse, if you take together, so favorable result only more. So after adjusting we are getting 9,000, which is a favorable. favorable. Okay, so moving to the material yield variance. So the material yield variance, very simple formula, actual yield, which is nothing but your actual output minus standard yield, okay, into standard cost per unit of the output. Once again, material yield variance is equal to actual yield or actual output minus standard yield into standard cost per unit of the output. So here standard yield, how to find out? It's very simple. Standard yield, actual yield, which is 100, is given in the question. So divided by total standard quantity, or we can write actual yield into total actual quantity divided by total standard quantity. So in this format, actual yield is 100, actual output is 100, and now total actual quantity we calculated 24,600. If you multiply together divided by standard quantity, total standard quantity 24,000. So if you simplify, we are getting actual yield is 102.5. So moving to the next one, the standard cost per unit for output, very simple formula what we are doing. So whatever the total, calculate the total. So we have to take here the total here 5 lakhs, we are getting the total cost divided by total standard cost. So the obviously 5 lakhs divided by output what we are producing here 100 yield. So obviously 5,000 per unit we are getting. So therefore the material yield variance, the formula actual yield minus standard yield into standard yield, we calculated using that formula. See here the standard material yield variance formula, actual yield 100 minus standard yield. Standard yield, how you can calculate? Actual yield into total actual quantity divided by total standard quantity. So per unit, how we can actual yield producing output is 100. So into total actual quantity, total with the help of tabular format, we got 24,600. So multiply together divided by total standard quantity 24,000, which is there in the tabular format. So if you divide 102.5 we are getting. So now what we can do, we can apply this formula. Actual yield is 100, standard yield just now we calculated 102.5. Okay, into 5,000, the total standard what we are getting. So we need to multiply 5,000. So from this we are getting a minus 2.50 into 5,000, because we calculated here 5,000 per unit. So there is an adverse 12,500. So now what need to do? We need to verify using a material usage variance. Material usage variance, which is nothing but the material mix variance plus material yield variance. So under material usage variance, we calculated 3,500, we got in the 3,500 we calculated. So the same thing we are writing here. How we are getting some material mix, we are getting a 9,000 favorable result after taking the summation. Material yield, we got 12,500. If you try to adjust which sign is more, adverse sign is more, the result will be 3,500, which is equal to the material usage variance. Now moving to the next question. Okay, so which is the information regarding the consumption and the weekly wages rate of the labor force engaged on the job schedule to be completed in 60 weeks are as follows. So which is nothing but the standard hours. Okay, so which is given the set by the management. So the additional information, the types of labor. Okay, again we are finding a combinations of labor like skilled labor, semi-skilled labor and unskilled labor. Okay, the standard information, number of workers which is given, weekly wages rate per hours also given, standard rate is given. Now actual information, number of workers also clearly specified, weekly wage rate per hour, so actual rate is also specified. So moving to the work is completed in 62 weeks, so which is an actual works. Okay, so 62 works is an actual hour, so here 60 is an standard hours. So calculate labor cost variance and labor rate variance and the labor efficiency variance and the labor mix variance. So moving to whatever the information, so we need to remember the given standard week is set by the management 60, actual week is 62. Okay, so what we are doing with the help of information, we need to construct the table. So the category of workers I have specified here: skilled, semi-skilled, unskilled. Now first we need to find out under standard, we need to take the three columns. One is just for weeks, number of workers into number of weeks. Okay, so under standard, the rate also clearly specified in the question here. The rate is standard rate is given and the actual rate is given. Okay, so here now whatever the information is given here, the 660 week is set by the management. Okay, now how many? The skilled labor 75 into 60, if you multiply, you're getting 4,500. Again, semi-skilled is 45 into 60, if you multiply, 2,700. So which is nothing but the total times. Okay, so next one, 60 is there. 60 into 6 standard, multiply 3,600. So if you take together, total is standard weeks is actually 10,800. The rate also have clearly specified with the help of question. So what we need to do, we need to multiply 4,500 into 60, 2,70,000, and 40 into 2,700, if you multiply, 1,08,000, and 30 into 36, 3,600, if you multiply, 1,08,000. If you take the together total, 4,86,000 we are getting. So moving to the actual, so the number of workers also given 70, 30, 80. 70, 30, 80. Okay, so the actual week 62 week, no, so we need to multiply. So 70 into 62, if you multiply, 4,340. At the rate also clearly specified 70, 50, 20. As it is, I am written 70, 50, 20. So again, next two workers, semi-skilled 30 into 62, 1,860. And next one, unskilled 80 into 62, 4,960. If you take the together total, 11,160 we are getting. The rate also clearly specified. Now we need to multiply 4,340 into 70, 3,800, 1,860 into 50, 93,000, 4,960 into 20, 99,200. If you take the together total, 4,96,000. So once we construct the table, so what we need to do, we need to calculate the labor cost variance using the standard cost minus actual cost. The standard cost we calculated just now 4,86,000 directly with the help of tabular. We are just writing 4,80,000. Actual cost we calculated 4,96,000. So which sign is more? The sign is actually negative. We are getting from this, if you try to subtract, the difference is 10,000, which is nothing but your adverse we are getting. Okay, so 4,86,000 minus 4,96,000, obviously we are getting a adverse result is 10,000. So after getting the calculation tabular format, so we need to calculate labor rate variance. The labor rate variance, how we are trying to write the formula: actual hours into standard rate minus actual rate. So in case of material price variance, we are writing a actual quantity, but in case labor cost labor rate variance, we are writing a quantity plus we are writing a hours. So the here the skilled, semi-skilled, unskilled value is given. The standard rate which is given in the question, okay, 60 rupees. The 60, 40, 30, as it is I have written 60, 40, 30. Okay, now actual rate is which is given in the question 70, 50, 20. So I have written 70, 50, 20. Now the actual hours, how many actual hours is calculated? We calculated actual hours 4,340. So now we need to multiply. After subtracting, we need to multiply. So from here we are getting a negative. So after minus 10 into 4,340, if you multiply, the result is adverse because negative 43,400, which is a adverse result. Now under semi-skilled labor, 40 minus 50, the standard rate is given in the question 40 minus actual rate 50 is given. If you subtract again the minus 10 only, we are getting the standard hours 1,860. So if you try to multiply minus 10 into 1,860, the answer is adverse. So 18,600 we are writing adverse. So moving to the unskilled labor, the standard rate which is given in the question 30 minus actual rate is 20. So the actual hours, respected actual hours is given 4,960 have written. So from this we are getting a positive. So obviously 10 into 4,960, if you multiply 49,600, which is a favorable result. So here there is two adverse, only one favorable. Okay, so which sign is more? Adding together, we need to subtract the favorable. The result will be 12,400, which is an adverse because the sign is more. So moving to the labor efficiency variance, the formula is very simple. Standard rate into standard hours minus actual rate. The standard rate, skilled, semi-skilled, just now we calculate the standard rate, which is whatever it says 60, 40, 30, our written 60, 40, 30. So under semi-skilled labor, we are getting standard hours, we calculated 4,500, under semi-skilled 2,700, unskilled 3,600. Again, we need to refer this one also here. 4,340, 1,860, now 4,960. Okay, so here the standard hours, just now we referred for the previous slide, 4,500 minus actual hours 4,340. If you subtract together, we are getting 160, which is a positive, and the standard rate, if you multiply 9,600, which is a favorable result. Moving to the semi-skilled labor, under standard hours, which is calculated 2,700, right? So minus actual hours 1,860. If you subtract, the result is also positive 840. The standard rate 40. If you multiply 33,600, which is a favorable result. Unskilled labor, the standard hours 3,600, actual hours 4,960. Okay, if you subtract the negative, we are getting minus 1,360. Standard rate 30 rupees, 30 multiply 40,800 adverse. So there is a two favorable item, okay, only. So after adding together, favorable is more compared to adverse. So obviously your answer also favorable, 2,400 is favorable. Now we need to verify here. Under material cost variance, so just now we calculated a material cost variance, 10,000 adverse we are getting, have copied for, okay, 10,000 adverse. Material rate variance, we got 12,400 adverse. Material efficiency variance 2,400 favorable. So now see the which sign is more here, the 12,400 minus 2,400, the difference is 10,000 adverse, which is equal. Okay, so moving to the next one, the labor mix variance. Labor mix variance, the formula is the standard rate into revised standard hours minus actual hour. So in case here the revised standard quantity which is applicable for the material, revised standard hours which is we consider for the labor, right? So we need to calculate for the revised standard hours. The formula is standard hours of grade. So there are three grade: skilled labor, unskilled labor, okay, semi-skilled labor. So we need to classify according to the formula is very simple here. Standard hours for grade into total actual hours divided by total standard hours. Okay, so here the standard individual hours for which is a grade is given in the question. See 4,500, 2,700 and 3,600. So the same thing we are writing 4,500, 2,700, 3,600 into the actual, the respected. Okay, so we need to refer the table. Respected hours, what we have calculated, the total is here actually 4,96,000. We have to refer for the expected total quantity, what we are getting 10,800. So the total what we are getting here, the standard, and here actual quantity, we need to consider this respected column only. So 11,160, we don't want to take for the cost because we are not doing a material cost, we are doing for the labor cost. So we need to take the labor total. So here the same thing we are getting, see 4,500 into 11,160 from the actual total quantity, actual hours. Okay, the standard hours which is 10,800. So we need to take here 4,500 into 11 lakh 160. If you divide it by 10,800, if you do 4,635, and second one semi-skilled, the same 2,700 into total hours 11,160 divided by standard hours total 10,800, 2,781. The same thing which is applicable for here. Finally, we are getting the 3,708. So once we calculated for the revised standard hours, what we can do, So we need to do for individual labors according to the standard formula. Standard rate we know 60, 40, 30. And just now we calculated for the revised for the skilled, we got 4,635. Okay, minus actual hours, which is calculated in the tabular format. It's there. See, if you try to subtract the difference, what we are getting here, the 60 as it is, the positive sign is more, 295 into 60. So 17,700, which is a favorable result. Now moving to the semi-skilled, the standard rate we know 40. Just now we calculated revised standard hours 2,781 minus individual actual hours 1,860. If you take the difference, we are getting positive sign 921 into standard rate 36,840, which is a favorable result. And unskilled labor, the standard rate we know 30. Revised standard hours we calculated 3,708 minus actual hours 4,960, which is given in the question calculated. So if you take the difference, we are getting a negative value 1,252 into standard rate. If you multiply 37,560. So now we need to take, there are two favorable results. So which sign is more? Okay, so the favorable sign compared to adverse, if you take together favorable total minus adverse, if you do 16,980. Thank you.